So first of all, what is MapReduce? It is simply a technique to process distributed data. You have distributed data, you can go and process this data using the MapReduce, right? And it is published by the Google. This technique or the paradigm or the procedure was published by Google during 2004. How a distributed data set can be processed. So why, first of all, distribute the data? When you have the data, why distribute? The answer is, it is big data, right? We have been hearing about this big data, so many times for such a long time. Nowadays, everybody talks about the big data, right? So because it's big data, we have to distribute it. We will end up distributing it because it's huge, and it's also not possible to store it on a single machine or a restricted group of machines. You can have a number of machines tied together, and probably you can store your data. But the problem there is the scalability. One is you cannot store all of this data on a single machine. Second is, if you have restricted machines, a set of machines, you cannot scale it at will. So, but is that the only way to process the data? MapReduce is the only way? The answer is no. The big data had been there for a long time. So only recently we named it as big data, and we have been talking about Hadoop and distributed file systems and MapReduce way of processing. But the big data problem had been there from a long time, right? So there are so many other architectures for processing these kind of volumes. In the earlier days, or even today, we have some of the systems running in this way, where we store data on a central repository, and then we have various servers accessing data from the central repository and processing on their machines, processing on each individual machine. But the problem with this is it cannot scale. The reason is, if you have 1,000 such machines, here I have 4 machines in this schema, which is called as a star schema. If I have 1,000 machines, all 1,000 machines will simultaneously try to get data from the central storage, which means this central storage will suffer at a certain number of machines. It can support only a certain number of machines, beyond which it will suffer. And beyond that, even the bandwidth, you have to have so much bandwidth to send this data across to the processing nodes. So it is not scalable, right? And then you have to have very costly servers on the processing nodes, or on the storage side, you have to have very costly servers. So the cost is a major factor, and the performance, as I said, beyond a certain number of nodes, the bandwidth it will suffer due to the bandwidth, and it will suffer due to the cost of adding further more machines, right? So this is not really scalable in terms of performance and in terms of the scales of economy, right? So how MapReduce is different, how it can alleviate this situation that is posed by the other architectures that we have seen, the star architecture, the star schema that we have seen on the previous slide. And there are various other architectures similarly to process, to hold big data and process it. So how MapReduce is different from these architectures? So one is, it will let you process the data on a distributed file system. So first of all, as I said in the first slide, it is a technique to process distributed data. So you have to have ability to distribute the data, which is nothing but a distributed file system. So the MapReduce will let you process the data on a distributed file system, and it allows you to process data discretely on the individual servers, which means you have a big file. So let us take a look at the illustration here. You have a big file, and this file you should be able to distribute on a cluster of machines. So they could be cheap commodity servers. So when I say cheap commodity servers, I am not talking about the second-hand laptops or second-hand desktops, but the servers. They should be server-grade machines, which are cheaper than your special server hardware. So you have this cluster of servers where you have distributed your file. So what's happening here is this file is being split into smaller chunks. The whole thing is not copied, but it is split into smaller chunks and copied on all these various machines. And the MapReduce, what it can do is it can execute the user program on all of these machines. See, this is where the wonder is happening. You have a big file of let's say 10 GB or 100 GB. You have split that into 1 GB each on all these 100 machines, and then your program is going and executing on or processing each of this 1 GB chunk. So your processing is 100 times faster, right? But the challenge here in this kind of processing is that you want to get some metrics, you want to get some analytics of the entire data, not for a single piece of data. But here in this way of processing, what happens is on each of the server, you are ending up with a partial result than a full result. So how do you combine this result together to say that this is my whole numbers or whole metrics or whole statistics? So the MapReduce can do this. MapReduce can gracefully combine all these partial results on all these discrete machines and present you a integrated view of all the processes, all the processing done on the individual servers. So it can process the data on a distributed file or distributed data, and then it can gracefully combine this data. So these are the main abilities of the MapReduce. And also the way, and this all of this process we are not doing as developers or the system builders. The MapReduce will have these abilities. The MapReduce, the engine that you are building or a particular vendor is building should build in all these capabilities. They should be able to launch the customer program on all the different pieces of the data, and then they should be able to bring in all the partial results and be able to combine and give back the combined integrated result. So these are the abilities that MapReduce should bring in. So this is what exactly Hadoop did. Hadoop has two core components. One is for the distributed file system, which is called as HDFS, which can take your data, a huge file, and split that into smaller chunks and store it on various machines in the cluster. And the MapReduce part of the Hadoop or MapReduce framework or MapReduce engine, different people call it as with a different name. So this MapReduce can execute user programs on the cluster where data is there. So the wonder here is that the program is going to the data. You are not bringing the data to the program like we have seen in the previous Tor architecture, which means you are saving enormous bandwidth. Your program is very minuscule compared to your data. So it does not take much time to actually travel to the server where data is sitting. So you're completely avoiding the data movements. It's not really complete to the maximum extent, maybe 90–95%. You're not moving the data, but the program is going to the data chunk and runs there. And the partial result that is produced on that server will be combined back by the MapReduce engine. We'll shortly take a look at how exactly this, the whole process happens. But if you take the main prominent open source implementation of the MapReduce, it is the Hadoop. So Hadoop has a MapReduce implementation, and to support MapReduce, it has a distributed file system called as the HDFS. And I also have Yarn here. We'll also briefly talk about Yarn, what it is, and what is the connection of Yarn with the MapReduce also we'll see briefly. Right. So now we will see the internals of the MapReduce, how exactly it can process and combine all the partial results across a huge number of clusters. So as